Yes, the Ask Brien radio theme. Some people used to use it on Rocky, but they really don't know where it came from. Welcome, 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 and good afternoon, Los Angeles! We are live. We are live on KHTS. Wow. Hope everybody had a great holiday weekend. Of course, we got another holiday weekend coming up, so this is like back-to-back holiday time. So get it out of your system now. So people that haven't listened to the Ask Brien Radio Show before, it's tied to the Ask Brien website. That's AskBrien.com. And it's a website that was created about a year ago now, and it basically is there to help businesses with any business problem they have. So if you've got a business problem, you don't want to call up your friend, you don't want to call your accountant, you don't want anyone to know what's going on because, hey, you got a problem, your inventory's low, high, or you've got a problem with your business, you really don't want to tell anyone what's really going on. But you can anonymously ask a question. You can have an expert answer that specific question. Maybe you don't have a problem, but you want to learn about accounting or marketing or online business, how to get into an online business. You can go to the site Ask Brien, AskBrien, learn about, listen to a video, listen to a webinar, read an ebook, or ask a specific question that you have, and you can figure out how to do it all on AskBrien.com. It's a network and a community, and it's there for everybody. There's no fees charged, so it's a free service, and the goal is basically to help people help solve their own business problems. So we have a great guest coming on. Is he around? Harrison?
Oh, I'm here.
Okay. So we have a great
guest.
How you
doing, Peter?
All right. We have a great guest today. He's going to explain a lot to people that if you haven't been online, this is the person that can help you out. He's going to give you background, give you basic information. We're going to be asking him information. If somebody has a specific question, we are on Facebook Live, so you can always go to Facebook Live and ask the question there. We can try to answer it during the show. If it's after the show, you can just write a comment. We can get back to you later on. But our goal is to help our listeners out. So if you have any issues you want to go over, just let us know. So without further ado, Mr. Harrison. And I'm calling him Mr. Harrison, not by his last name, just because he's such a great guy. All right, so first question I have for you. Let's get a little bit of your background here. So how long have you been working with online businesses?
I've been working with online businesses for about 20 years now. I'm 32, going on 33, so I got started when I was about 12 years old.
So instead of getting a paper route, you got an online computing job. Is that correct?
Absolutely, that's right. I've always been a techno nerd, and my first clients were some. I played basketball my whole life. One thing you'll notice about me if you ever meet me is I'm 6'10", so
that's short.
I use that height for something. Yeah, right. So I'd use that height for something. So early on when I was playing basketball, my first clients were coaches and parents of players and whatnot.
Now, when you say you're 12 years old, I mean, at 12 years old, what could you offer? What were you doing back at 12 years old?
You'd be surprised. I was actually writing code for programs. For AOL 2.5, if anyone used to go on AOL way back in the day, you'll know that there was different apps and things that you can use to augment the application or AOL itself. And so I was writing those codes, and I quickly learned HTML and CSS, and started actually building websites. And I learned Flash and all kinds of different things. This was back in was it 97 now, 98. So yeah, I've been doing things. Or no, this is a long time ago. So that was 85. So yeah, it's been such a long time ago. I don't remember the dates, but I was offering websites and apps and all kinds of things back in the day there.
Well, okay. So, but when you're 12 years old, I mean, what are you selling? You're selling like helping somebody customize some code, or you're working on an actual website? You're actually selling websites to people? I mean, what exactly are you doing back then?
So, again, coaches, referees, they would come to me and they would say, "Hey, Harrison, I know you're into computers. I need something to be able to market my services." And so I would work with them. I'd go to their places of business or their houses or whatever, and we sit down and we would work on building websites. I would be the one writing code and doing all the design work and, tweaking it and making sure that the client was happy. And, I quickly made a name for myself because I was able to build things from scratch. I was building websites. I was writing HTML. I was, launching servers and getting people domain names and setting up email accounts. I was, a lot of their IT guy. I was their IT guy. So, I was doing kind of everything. I was super interested in how computers worked. My parents got me my first computer when I think I was like 7 or 8 years old. I had a Mac LC2 with the green and black screen. And ever since then, I was super interested in computers and how they worked and how I could, possibly make a business out of it. And when I was 12 years old, I figured out how.
So my first question is this first site that you did currently operating?
Oh, man. That's a great.
I'm trying to stump the guy, and I think I finally did it, guys.
I know that there's an app out there online called the Wayback Machine, and I'm sure if you typed in the URL, you could find it. The Wayback Machine essentially archives people's web pages and takes screenshots of people's web pages over time, and allows you to go back in time and see how that website looked back in 1990.
So we can evaluate your work.
Yeah, we can see the progression, right?
So, having said that, one of your first sites, is there any of your first sites still around that you know of? The ones that maybe in the first year or two?
Man, I know that...
I have my laptop here, so I can punch it in right now.
I know that there's been... Man, I'm trying to think back to what the first sites even were. It was like... there's been literally thousands of sites since then. So trying to remember the URL for one of them is kind of difficult. I don't even know if these guys are around anymore. Again, it's been 20 years. So, Ask... there was Ace Referee, I think was his URL, acereferee.com, I think was the very first one.
Oh, we're checking that out now. Ace Referee, REFEREE, or spelled referee the standard way? Hello?
Seems like we lost him real quick. Let's see if we get him back on the line.
How is that possible?
I'm not sure. In the meantime, though, were you able to find an acereferee.com?
No, I'm not. That's why I'm trying to figure out where it would be. So I typed in Ace Referee. There is an acereferee.com, but it's just an ace. Look at that.
Are you with us?
Can you see that?
Yeah, I'm here.
That's on Facebook Live, guys. That's Ace Referee. Are you looking at Facebook Live, Harrison?
This is terrible.
Is that your site?
This is not mine. I do not take credit for the way this looks currently, but, things happen.
Well, especially considering they're talking about iOS software. I don't think they had the iOS or the Android software back then, so I could be mistaken.
Definitely not.
We're on KHTS on your AM dial and FM dial soon. It's 114, and we're speaking with Harrison. And before we lost him, what happened? You just decided, hey, you need a coffee break or something? What was going on?
I think, when you typed in that website, the interwebs didn't like it very much and wanted to cut me out of the conversation.
So you're saying you're hacked. I got it. All right, no problem. So, without further ado, I want to speed up now. So, you've been in the business now for 20 years. When you say you've been in the business, what have your various tasks been? Website design, website development? Give me some background. Sure.
Well, I've made sure that my name, Harrison Schaen, has been synonymous with web development and technical consulting since the day I got started, really. And so, when I'm working with any of my current clients or anybody I've ever worked with, I do a lot of business consulting up front and technical consulting along with it. So I help people think about what their digital presence is going to be, if they're going to be selling things online, what their audience is, who their target market is, what their method of marketing will be, trying to develop a marketing strategy for them, and then, putting together what the website's going to have, using UX, user experience, and doing UI, doing the design part of it as well, and really putting together something that they like, and then going out and building it. right? A lot of people are highly visual, so I've spent a lot of time focused on, working in Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator. I've done, wireframing in, Balsamic and Mockingbird and, Sketch now is another one. And this was all up until about 3-4 years ago now when I started my company, Issue Fixers. I was just, I was the entrepreneur, I was the manager, and I was the technician. But, after I read the E-Myth by Gerber, I quickly realized that, I would much rather be the entrepreneur. So I started teaching and training people how to do development, how to do design, what the best practices were, how to be an effective employee, and how to be able to work with clients directly. And I started a business around that, which is now Issue Fixers. And, we started as a development shop, building websites and apps, not necessarily just iOS and Android apps, but also desktop applications as well, web-based desktop applications, and then, the actual software that comes on computers as well. So I've made sure that we're kind of a one-stop shop. From development is only carries you so far because they're one-off projects. You build something and then it's done. You might make some iterations over time, but it's pretty much a one-time job. And so we introduced marketing services as well because, I have a marketing background. I was director of marketing for a couple different companies over time. And so we offer both development and marketing now, which a lot of companies don't do. They do one or the other. But we found that by introducing marketing services, we're able to increase our long-tail engagements. So, we pretty much have to do everything. So, everything from coming up with the idea for the website, doing the research, looking at competition and who else is out there and how to create the best product possible. And we do the wireframing, we do the design, we do the development, we do the marketing so we can launch the thing that we're developing. And then we do optimizations over time. So we'll look at analytics for websites. We'll take a look at whatever data we can collect through Google Analytics or Facebook Insights or Hotjar or Crazy Egg, whatever the different analytics that we're collecting for that particular site. And then we make recommendations. We do A/B testing, so we'll test one page versus this page, see how the pages are converting, and then make tweaks to make sure that those pages are optimized and that they convert the best possible for our clients. And, we're an end-to-end solution. I hope that answers your question. I don't know if that was too long-winded.
Okay, so a couple of things, because, I do have that legal background. So one of the things you said that I know what it is, but not everybody does. So you mentioned when you identified UX, you said user experience, okay, and you identified UI, but you didn't identify it as user interface. So can you explain in a short phrase what the difference between user experience and user interface is and what each one is?
Absolutely. Yeah, sure. So, user experience or UX as it's called, and a lot of times people call it UX UI. They say it's kind of in one breath, but it's absolutely separate and different. So, user experience UX is more about how people are going to use the website. So the placement of objects on a page, right? Reading from left to right, having a text box show up here, a picture
so you're looking for the flow.
Absolutely. It's the user flow. A lot of times the user experience is very much embedded in the user journey. So the user experience designer will do research in terms of talking to test audience, the target audience of the website. They'll ask them questions. They'll look at other websites that the target audience likes or has used. They'll look at data. They'll do a lot of upfront research to figure out, what the best flow is going to be. They'll write user journeys. So, they'll say, hey, as a user, I need to be able to do X, Y, Z so that I can accomplish this. And
how do you test that?
Feature.
How do you test that to know that that's the right flow? I mean, for instance, let's say design and everything is, goes from left to right, and you think in your head that's what's right, but, maybe it's not working or whatever. How do you know what flow to use for each product or service?
Well, you get wireframes, right? So one thing that my company
You're going to have to explain what wireframes are, because everyone thinks of my glasses that I'm wearing, and I don't think those are the same type of wireframes, but go ahead.
Not quite. But yeah, so wireframing is essentially, the bones of the site. Think of a drawing, a sketch on a piece of paper that you're just quickly scribbling in things and drawing boxes and whatnot. That's essentially wireframing. Design comes after that, because design, you could come up with a million different ways to design something. But if you have a blueprint, a wireframe, this sketch, so to speak, you can accomplish design a lot faster and a lot more effectively. So, when it comes to user experience, these wireframes can be put into an application like InVision or Marvel, and you could add hotspots to your wireframe.
All right, well, slow down, because a lot of people don't even know what you just said,
Okay,
right.
sure.
He got to the wireframe. It looks like a design similar to a blueprint, and then you started using all these words that envision, and, I may know it, but I'm certainly 90% of the audience does not know what it is, and you need to explain what that is.
Absolutely, I'd be happy to. So InVision is a website that allows you to put in images, create a prototype that allows you to make those images come to life, so to speak. So you're basically able to build an app or a wireframed application or a fully designed design and turn that into a working model. So if I were to create a wireframe of a website, right, and I have my navigation that I draw out, and I have the different pages that I go ahead and created, I can put all those pages into an online site like InVision, or another one is called Marvel, but either one, and then I could create or draw boxes within this website on top of my wireframe, and I can be able to allow people to click on it to get to other pages. So this way, I haven't done any coding, right? There's no development that has happened, and allows me to take this working model and give it to my test market, my audience, and be able to say, hey, use this thing. Tell me what you like or don't like. And I'll sit there and I'll watch them using it. And if they can't figure out what to click on, or if they aren't happy with how the page is laid out, they'll tell me, and I can quickly make changes to that wireframe, versus if I had spent time coding it, when I'd have to go ahead and fix that code.
So where do you find people that are going to be able to do this testing? Are they your employees? Do you hire people, or you just have, where do you get these people from? You have like you just pick up the phone and go, hey, listen, I need 50 people to check this out. I mean,
it honestly, sometimes that's what we do. It depends on the target market. If we have a particular audience that, we know how to reach them, we will go ahead and make phone calls and get 5, 7 people in a room, or we go to each individual person and we bring this wireframe or this, prototype to them and ask them questions.
It sounds like a focus group, if you know what that is.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. It's a focus group.
And so now we have to go way back, because we still haven't answered the first question. We want to go back a little bit. This is KHTS on your dial. I want you, before we take our break, we need to go to UI, because that's user interface. And we need to explain what that is and then compare user interface to user experience. And then when we come back from our break, everyone, we're going to go through the entire process of, hey, I came up with an idea sleeping at night, to I got a full-blown website. And we're going to try to go through that really quickly when we get back, but I think it's going to be really great. We're not going to break for a few minutes. First, we're going over user interface, the comparison to user experience, and then when we come back after our break in about 5 minutes, we'll be going over the entire website. So we're going to go like a fictitious, the widget.com we'll be going over. Without further ado, you want to explain UI?
Sure. So if you go to my website, issuefixers.com, you'll see a logo on the left, you'll see color button on the right, you'll see fonts being used, you'll see pictures. All that is UI. All that is user interface design. And so, UI is synonymous with design, or, something like an image, fonts, colors, videos, even anything that really makes the website come to life. And so UI people or designers, same thing, right? Designers are typically living in Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator. The difference, obviously, not obvious, of course, Photoshop being used for bitmap images, and Adobe Illustrator being used for vector images. One is using pixels or little dots of color. The other is using math to draw lines between it. So designers are going to be using one or the other. There's also an app, Sketch, that is new to the market now. Not too new. It's been around for a couple of years.
Is that like Etch-a-Sketch?
Not quite. A little bit more advanced. But Sketch is one of those apps that's definitely disrupting the market now. So it's something that all designers should be looking into. UI is the next step in the progress of design. UX will lay out everything. Like I mentioned, it's like a sketch on a website, and the UI is going to be the high fidelity part. The next step where they're actually adding the text and we're actually adding the images. It's not just going to be boxes anymore. It's going to be the actual designed, nice looking, high resolution images and fonts and colors that we talked about.
So user experience, you will not have any media on that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then you have to do the UX before you can do the UI, correct?
That's correct. Unless you were willing to spend a whole bunch of money, trying to get your UI dialed in correctly. If you want to spend, if you have time and you have money to spend, go ahead and jump right into UI. You can, spend 4 times as much money as you would if you just, invested a little bit more into your UX process.
But and is the UI process at all with a focus group, or is it just the UX?
UI as well. Again, I tell people it's a lot easier to erase a line than to knock down a wall, right? If you think about a blueprint of a house. If you're in UI, you can just as easily go back to your design and make changes.
That's unless you're in Redondo Beach and you're buying a piece of land to knock down the house and build a new one. But go ahead.
That's right. But it makes a lot of sense if you were to get a focus group to do it early and often. I say get it done in UX and also get it done in UI. Some people are more visual than others. And, having a working prototype, this high-fidelity design, you should be going out and testing your market. You want to make sure that your product has a good market fit, right? And so once you have this design, you go back to your focus group or you get another focus group and you give them this prototype. You drop your designs back into Envision, like I mentioned before, which is your prototyping tool, and allows you to take this and put it on your phone. And you can take it on your phone and let people play with it on your phone. Or you can give it to them as a link they can open up on their computer, and they can go through and click through it, and they can give you feedback.
And just hold on, everyone. We're going to be right back after a break, and we'll finish that up, and then we'll go over website development.
Healthcare can be difficult if you're underinsured or have Medi-Cal. Samuel Dixon Family Health Center can help. Services are available on a sliding fee schedule. The mission of the Samuel Dixon Family Health Center is to give the Santa Clarita Valley access to affordable, quality primary care. There are 3 locations to serve you: Canyon Country, Newhall, and Valverde. Go to sdfhc.org for more information and to find the location most convenient for you.
Genghis Khan Mongolian Barbecue and Chinese Buffet. Healthy vegetables and lean meats. A low-carb treat. Create your own bowls with our delicious meats and always fresh vegetables. Then, blend in your own secret sauce. Feast at the all-you-can-eat buffet and barbecue for the same low price. A local favorite for over 25 years, Genghis Khan is still located on Lyons Avenue just east of the I-5. Enter between the Chevron and Shell gas stations. Come and see us soon at Genghis Khan.
At City of Hope, we don't believe the future can wait for the future. For over a century, we've been advancing science that saves lives. From 4 of the world's top cancer-fighting drugs to the development of synthetic human insulin. We are maximizing the potential of immunotherapy and making precision medicine a reality. It's not enough to promise future cures for cancer. We must find them sooner. We are the miracle of science with soul. Find out more at cityofhope.org.
Something big is coming to Castaic.
Is it a dinosaur, Bob?
No, Blanche.
Is it the 2020 Olympics?
No.
I know. We're finally hosting the World Cup.
No, silly. They're building Castaic High.
Bob, no way.
Go visit CastaicHighProject.com. You'll get all the latest details.
What's that web address again, Bob?
CastaicHighProject.com.
Again?
CastaicHighProject.com.
Bigger than a dinosaur?
That's right. CastaicHighProject.com.
California Credit Union, the only credit union in Santa Clarita focused on our educational community. California Credit Union offers low rates on loans for personal and business services, along with financial services for teachers, students, staff, and families. Free checking and very low new and used auto loan rates.
California Credit Union, your personal credit union, located in the River Oak Shopping Center next to Target.
Visit us and open an account today. Insured by NCUA, an agency of the federal government.
It's time to put the pedal to the metal. I'm Alan Taylor, host of The Drive, your source for all things auto. Broadcasting from the Peterson Automotive Museum every Saturday morning from 6 to 9 a.m. right here on KHTS. Brought to you by your friends at Galpin Motors.
Hey Dodgers fans, check out the KHTS website at hometownstation.com. Get the latest news and sports happenings in our Santa Clarita Valley. Find out more about KHTS shows and our on-air features, plus receive incredible discounts with our Restaurant Row certificates. That's hometownstation.com.
Hometown, your hometown station.
I just like the variety of music.
KHTS.
Okay, welcome back, and we're talking to Harrison about website development, website design. He started very late. I think he was 12 when he started his first website development business. So I mean, that's very late. I mean, most kids, they're 4 or 5, they're already there. So he was a late bloomer. Anyway, we're back. Harrison, you there?
I'm here.
All right. Hopefully you didn't take that personally. Anyway, I want to go over. Somebody comes in and says, "Listen, I got my widget.com site." They call you up and they know nothing about website development, or they had a web developer that did something for them, but they did all the work. They just tell them, "Hey, this is what I want." They get it. But now you've got somebody may own a store in Santa Clarita, may not have had an online business before. So let's walk through that process. You have a widget.com. You're selling widgets. They did okay on Amazon. They've done okay on eBay. It's a commoditized product. It comes in red and blue, and they're selling them out of the store, but they also want to, get into the real world and sell it to the outside world because they're going to make a lot more money. They want to scale the business. That's the hypothetical. You got it?
Got it.
All right. So, Mr. Harrison, first of all, my first question is, are you going to go over a consulting position with them and try to figure out whether or not this is a scalable product for them, or are you going to just go right into the web development part?
I would do the consulting part first. So we would have an initial conversation. I talk about, if they are coming to me and say, "Hey, Harrison, I need to get an online presence. We want to do some online selling, or we want to be able to move in that direction." Some of the first questions I would ask is, more about the product itself. I understand it comes in red and comes in blue. Cool. What kind of people are coming in to buy it? Who are these people? Have you talked to them? What are their motivations for buying your product?
Most of them are 18 to 35.
Okay. So about 18 and 35, more of that millennial market. Obviously, I would tell them, the millennials make most of their buying decisions online. They'll come into the store to check it out, but they'll do most of their research on their phones, and they'd probably make that purchase on their phones. So I'd guide these people or you in this direction of going and pursuing the digital presence. My next question would be, how much are these widgets?
They're anywhere from, you can buy a cheap one for $19.99. They go all the way up to $199.
Okay, awesome. So you've got a range of products there. I mean, about how many different products do you think are you currently selling?
We sell about 120 a month.
About 120 a month. Awesome.
In our store.
Okay, and so those are 120 different products. Those are 120 purchases that are done in the store.
120 purchases done in the store, but they range anywhere from $19.99 to $199. Our profit margin is about 40%.
40%. Okay. So if you were to have an online store, about how many different products would you be selling? Is there like 3 or 4? Is there 20? How many different items would you be listing?
Probably 6.
Probably 6. Okay.
In blue and red.
Blue and red, so they have different options for each one.
Correct.
Do they come in sizes, or is it just the different colors?
Boy, I'm really having imaginative on my hypothetical here. Yeah, they come in 2 different sizes.
A lot of questions.
They come in 2 different sizes.
The reason why I ask this is because, if we were to create an online shop for you, we would be creating variations of each one of these products. And each variation is
Explain to me a variation.
Product. So a variation would be, say I had, a T-shirt, and a T-shirt comes in small through extra large. Each one of those sizes is a variation. Now, if the T-shirt came in blue and red, that's also a variation. And now we have blue, small through extra large, and red through extra large. So we just doubled how many variations we had by adding another variation. And so each one of those variations is a separate product because, again, you have to go get the small
So a separate item,
shirt.
I get it.
Right, exactly. And so this kind of helps me figure out, how big of a shopping cart or rather an e-commerce page that you would need and which platform we would be using.
Okay.
So moving forward, the next thing I would ask is, about, have you ever done anything online before? I think you mentioned that you did not. You've been doing everything in store. Is that right?
That's correct. Well,
So
we have a
you
web page, but we don't get any business off it. We don't have a shopping cart. It's just like telling people where we are and who we are.
Do you have social media? Are you on Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest, anything like that?
We have a Facebook page. We've got 342 likes.
Okay, awesome. And then have you ever done any, I guess, messaging to those people that you've liked? Have you ever, done any kind of...
I wouldn't even know how to do that.
Okay, all right, awesome. So, these are fresh people that have never been contacted. That's great. It's a good start. So the next thing I would probably ask you is about, what your vision is, what your goals are for having an online presence. Are you looking to increase your visibility? Are you looking to, just get more sales? What is your goal in the first year of using or having an e-commerce site?
I'd like to increase sales because hopefully if I can increase sales enough, I can start to get a higher percentage of my business off of the online and not have to deal with leasing more and more space. Because, for me to scale my business, I would have to double the size to double the sales, right? So if I had an online presence, I don't have to lease more space.
Sounds good. So, we're going to be very, very conscious of that, by able to help you not have to lease more space and, increase inventory on site, but be able to actually do things digitally. So that way it'll save you some overhead. So some of my recommendations are, we can go 1 or 2 routes. The first would be something like WordPress, and we would use WordPress.
Now, what is WordPress?
It's a content management system. So it's basically a platform online that has been traditionally used for blogging, but WordPress is actually a very robust system if it's used correctly. And WordPress will allow you to get up and running a lot cheaper than if you were to do some other platform. WordPress is free. However, you would have to pay for your own hosting. So hosting means that you go into some company like, InMotion or Bluehost or GoDaddy, and you buy, a small hosting package. Anything from $5.99 a month. You go all the way up to hundreds of dollars a month if you scale that big.
So that's basically space on a server, correct?
Exactly. And so you get the space on the server, and then you would hire a company like mine, and we would go ahead and create a WordPress installation on your hosting account. And
now, is WordPress software?
WordPress is software, absolutely. So it's an online platform, and it's made for aggregating and keeping all track of all of your content. And products are content. Blog posts are content. Videos are content. All these different things are content. And so WordPress makes it a lot easier for you to create pages for this content and create a whole website around the content that makes your products easy to access, right? And so on WordPress, we would introduce something that's called WooCommerce. And WooCommerce is the built for WordPress e-commerce system. And WooCommerce will allow us to input each of your products and create each of the variations that we talked about, set prices, and then basically allow us to have a whole e-commerce system that will allow us to show your products on the page, let people buy those products, enter their shipping information, billing information, collect payment, and allow the whole flow of checkout to be handled by this WooCommerce system. Now, you'll be obviously responsible for shipping, but there are different what we call plugins or widgets that can help facilitate a relationship between you and a third party, like USPS or UPS or several other different shipping providers.
You know that we're selling widgets, right?
Awesome. So this is perfect for you.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but not everybody understands what WooCommerce or e-commerce is. Commerce obviously is business, okay, but and sounds like electronic commerce. But what does that mean?
So electronic commerce is basically the way of buying things online, right? eBay, Amazon, any of those are e-commerce websites. Anytime you buy anything from any website, they have an e-commerce system set up, or it is e-commerce. It is exactly what you said, electronic commerce. So what you're doing online there is essentially giving users or website visitors the ability to purchase something online using a credit card or some sort of payment account.
How does this compare to Shopify or I've heard of a program called Magento? How does WordPress compare to those?
That's right. And so, WordPress, again, is a free option and is very easy to find developers to build a site for. You can even, learn it pretty quickly yourself if you wanted to. Whereas Shopify is a paid-for solution platform that is built strictly for e-commerce. So you wouldn't get as many other options as WordPress in terms of like blogging, or doesn't necessarily have as big of a plugin platform. So that WordPress has a widget platform to choose from to have those third-party integrations. Shopify does have its own platform. It has its own appeal. If you do have a shopping, let me back up a second, because I know I'm going a little too fast. For WordPress, for someone who's just entering the market and trying to prove that there is an online market for their product, WordPress is the best solution because it's a free solution and it allows you to customize it and be a lot more hands-on with the process to be able to make sure that, again, you are in the right platform, the right medium. So a lot of times I call it the MVP software, where it's the most viable product. You want to be able to say, hey, I want to be able to sell these things and find out if people are willing to buy it online. If people are spending money, the next evolution of your website, if it is just going to be e-commerce, should be moving in the direction of Shopify. Now, Shopify has been optimized. They've dumped millions of dollars into their software in order to make sure that the pages that you're creating are have the best UX practices used to help visitors move through buying your product into paying for your product. So WordPress doesn't necessarily have all of the money dumped into it, but that's why it's free. It allows you to do a lot more hands-on and a lot more customization through WordPress. Shopify is more rigid, but it's more rigid because it's been tested and for performance. So you'd be paying for those testings and that optimization by going through something like Shopify. Now, Magento is a little bit of a hybrid because Magento is a little bit more advanced programming. It's got a bigger robustness to it than Shopify. It's a lot more advanced than WordPress, and finding a Magento developer is a little bit more difficult. Magento, I think, is one of the most powerful e-commerce systems if it was used correctly, but they upgrade their software kind of frequently, and they don't allow or they don't offer any kind of easy migration, which means that you're going to have to hire a developer again after your card has been built just to make sure that it's compatible with the new software they release.
Well, that's interesting. I'm surprised that any company would actually do that. If you're buying the Magento software, I would think that you could just upgrade it and all the changes should just go through. It's very odd to me that a company's doing that. You mentioned a couple of things. So one is you said Magento is a hybrid. So is it a software? Is it a free software, or is it you have to pay for software?
Well, so Magento, they offer two different solutions. From what I know that Magento is, again, it's very much a paid-for solution because, the free stuff that you get out of the box isn't really going to get you very far at all. So, using Magento, you're going to have to end up paying, whatever the cost they're charging right now just to get to the nitty-gritty, the stuff that you actually need to have a successful e-commerce website. So there are limitations to the free version, but the pro version is, what everyone clamors about.
So you said for when you're starting out, you probably would use WordPress and you might go to Shopify, but where does Magento fit in that group?
I think that, Magento is the higher echelon of that group. Shopify is the high performance of the three. WordPress is the get off the ground. I think of it like the Model 3, the Tesla Model 3 would be WordPress, and then you have the Tesla S is the Shopify, and then you have the big truck, right? The new truck that they just put out, the big rig, is Magento.
And so you would figure out, so you could use any one of those three. I guess is there another one out there that's very popular that I'm not aware of, or?
There's other ones. BigCommerce is another one of those e-commerce systems. It's a little bit less known, not as many features or functionality, but it is cheap, and they do offer templates that get people going. There's some other ones out there too, but I don't really use anything else other than, those main three. I try to direct people in the direction of what's most popular because it has the most support, and it also has usually the most extensions or plugins that we mentioned, that allows us to integrate a lot faster and, as opposed to developing things from scratch and trying to, fit a square peg in a round hole, so to speak.
Well, we got to come back. We're going to be taking a short little break. We'll be back, and we want to probably spruce this up a little bit. So we're going to go quickly over, once we've picked the platform or whatever software we're going to use, of how we're going to get this site designed, because I want to start selling those widgets, and at $1.99 to $1.99, I got a lot of widgets to sell. We'll be right back.
Sounds good.
The city of Santa Clarita has so much going on this year. Be on the lookout for amazing events happening throughout the year, including the Cowboy Festival, concerts in the park, Thursdays at Newhall, and the Santa Clarita Marathon. There are also a number of fun activities and things to do year-round, including outdoor recreation, hiking and bike trails, adult classes, art exhibits, youth sports programs, and more. You can even sign up to be a volunteer. Learn more at santa-clarita.com.
Life's not meant to feel complacent. It's meant to make you feel alive. The youth ministry at the Church on the Way Santa Clarita believes that students can belong to the group, where they will help them believe they have a purpose in Christ and become all that He has created them to be. They want you to see God's power come alive in our generation. They love meeting new people, so go hang out with them. Doors open at 6 p.m. and service starts at 7 p.m. every Wednesday night. For more information about the Church on the Way Santa Clarita and what's happening through the end of the year, visit tcotwsc.org.
Buying your home can sometimes be challenging. That's why Charlene Gill with CSMC Mortgage is your Santa Clarita mortgage expert. What's important to you is to secure a loan at the best possible rate, to have a professional guide you through the process, and to close on time. Charlene's 23 years in the mortgage industry and her personal expert knowledge in the Santa Clarita Valley makes her your mortgage expert. Contact Charlene at hometownstation.com/Charlene. That's hometownstation.com/Charlene.
The most charming restaurant is now in Santa Clarita. Marston's Restaurant has been a Pasadena landmark, voted the best breakfast in California by the Food Network magazine, open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Marston's also has a fantastic catering menu that adds a delicious twist to any event. And they cater picnic dinners for that memorable romantic date. Experience Marston's on Newhall Ranch Road in McBean, or log on to marstonsrestaurant.com.
City of Hope is a leader in cancer research and treatment. And there's a City of Hope location right here in Santa Clarita, eliminating a major barrier in the fight against cancer: distance to quality care. Santa Clarita has the advantages of City of Hope's renowned clinical expertise, compassionate care, and access to clinical trials. Find out more at cityofhope.org/Santa Clarita or call 661-799-1999.
Hometown.
Traffic report, simple news, weather, and lots of music. They pretty much play everything.
Your hometown station.
Welcome back, KHTS. We are back live with Harrison, and we're going over our fictitious company called Widgets, and we're very surprised, but he actually has an affiliation with a widget company, so that was amazing. Anyway, we're back here, and we were talking about different platforms before we got off. We're talking about different main platforms would be WordPress, would be Shopify, and Magento. And that Magento is a hybrid between the two, WordPress and Shopify. And typically, if you're starting out, probably would start out with a WordPress. It's a free system, and where Shopify is basically it's a software package, and you're pretty much locked in a little bit more. It's a little bit more rigid, and Magento's a little hybrid. But let's get past that. So pick one of the three, Harrison, of for our fictitious product, which are we going to use? We're going to use WordPress, or are we going to go to Shopify Magento?
Yeah, we're going to use WordPress. We're going to test the market and make sure that there is a product market fit. We want to make sure that your products, your widgets, sell online.
Okay, so we pick WordPress. Now what?
Well, so we picked WordPress. Now what we do is we go into the wireframing process. I've learned a little bit about your business. I know about your competition. I know, other people doing these things. And so I'm now going to start designing this web page for you. And so we could do it from scratch, and then we can have something custom depending on your budget, or we can pick an pre-existing theme. And so by picking a pre-existing theme, it allows us to get up and running a lot faster and a lot cheaper for you, right? And so let's go ahead and say we're going to pick a pre-existing theme just to save a little bit of time. Once we do pick that pre-existing theme, we're going to go ahead and install it on your WordPress site. After we get the hosting, right? We've bought the hosting, we've installed WordPress, now we've got the theme and we've installed the theme, and now we're going to start adding content, right? And the first thing we're going to do is add that WooCommerce that allows us to have products as content. And so now that we've installed WooCommerce, we're going to start creating your products on the site. And now we're going to have the red widget, and we're going to have the blue widget, and then we're going to have all the different sizes. And so we're going to, each size, I'm imagining, is going to have a different price. You mentioned that it's going to be from $19.99 to $199.
Right, we have two sizes and 5 different products.
Awesome.
So that's 10 total, I would say.
So we got the 10 different products. So each one of those products in each one of those sizes is going to have, each product, right, everything that I see. So if it's, the blue widget, or one of these blue widgets, right, or one of these widgets in a blue color, that's what I'm going to see first on the website. So that's the first product I'm going to create, and then I'm going to create each of the variations of that for you in the background. So when someone says, hey, I want this widget, but I want it in red, and I want it in, a extra large size, or whatever the biggest size is, they'll be able to select those from a drop-down. And so they'll say, okay, we'll pick this, and I'll pick this, and now I'm going to check out. The price might change, and then they'll hit, okay, add to cart, and then I want to go buy it. And so all of those pages after buying the widget are all part of WooCommerce. So that comes pre-installed with the system that we installed earlier. So we can change that and optimize it if we want over time. But to save time, we're just going to launch it out of the box, have your products there, and then we're going to design the homepage for you by adding a couple of different things about your products, adding maybe a link to one of the or two of the products on that homepage, and then we're going to set up your navigation menu so people can navigate from your homepage to your shopping cart, and to any other pages you want to put on the site there. And so some of those other pages might be an about page. It might be, how it's made.
So is that the user interface part?
So that is going to be part of the user interface, absolutely, or not. Sometimes some of those pages don't require any kind of design. They'll be just part of the theme that we originally installed. So we kind of foregoed that user experience, user interface part by creating the theme and by installing that theme. because the theme already has people that have done the user experience and done the design on the theme itself. And now we're just taking what they did and installing it on our site. Other people, have access to be able to buy that theme or download that theme too. So some other sites might have that too. But there's so many themes out there that it makes sense financially speaking, and especially when you're just trying to prove a market, to go with one of these pre-installed or pre-created themes for you, rather than doing all the wireframing, doing the testing, doing the user interface design, doing the testing. That takes a lot more time. So, I think we mentioned to save time, we're just going to forego the UI UX process and just purchase a theme directly for WordPress.
What's your definition of success?
Well, so my definition of success, I want to make sure that you're getting your money's worth, right? You're going to make an investment in getting these things built, but I want to make sure that people are actually going to buy it and give you a return on your investment. So typically when I have a client that wants to just, be able to see it or start selling online, I'll direct them in the best thing that's going to work for them. Not necessarily what's going to make the most money for my company, but I want to make sure that what they're doing is going to be work for them. I think we started talking about at the beginning of the conversation that, we want to find out that there is an audience for your product online. And so instead of investing, tens of thousands of dollars in building something from scratch, you should go with something that already exists that costs a fraction of that amount and get a sale. If you can prove that someone's willing to buy your product, you get 1 sale, 5 sales, then I would say go ahead and start building something from scratch and investing the time and the research into it to make sure that, you have something that's going to convert for you over time. And so, it's kind of like a machine where I said if I put $1 in this machine, you're going to get $5 back. Like, you wouldn't necessarily walk up to the machine and just dump all your life savings into it. Like, you put $1 in, test that it works, and then go ahead and make sure that you dumped all your life savings in there.
Okay, well, we gotta wrap this up. I have one last question. How much is this going to cost me?
Well, Issue Fixers charges $80 an hour for WordPress development. Typically, we give you a flat rate cost. So for something like this, I'm thinking it would take about 3 days to do. So talking about 24 hours. So you can do the math from there. And then you obviously would be there for testing and marketing and continuing to do all the different things to bring people to your site to make sure that they can find your widgets and buy them.
Well, thank you very much. Unfortunately, we do have to wrap this up. We would like to have you on later on in the show to explain to us how you're going to make this marketed. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Is he on the line still?